Hello, everyone. Welcome to James and Elena's English Chat, the podcast where we have real conversations to help you improve your English. I'm James.
And I'm Elena. It's so lovely to be here with you today. James, you look a bit frustrated. Is everything okay?
Honestly, Elena, I'm fighting a losing battle with my phone. I just tried to take a quick photo of my dog, Barnaby. He was wearing my slippers, and a message popped up saying, "Storage full." I couldn't believe it.
Oh, the dreaded storage full message. It's such a headache, isn't it? It sounds like your phone has become a bit of a digital junk drawer.
Exactly. That's the perfect name for it. My home screen is a mess, and I have about 5,000 unread emails. It's totally overwhelming.
Well, that is actually our topic for today. We're talking about digital junk, all that electronic clutter we collect on our devices. But before we dive in, let's do a quick level check.
Good idea. This episode is designed for intermediate learners, specifically around the B1 level. We speak at a natural pace, but we try to keep the vocabulary accessible.
Exactly. And remember, if you don't catch every single word, that's perfectly okay. Just relax and listen to the flow of the conversation. You'll understand more than you realize.
So, Elena, what's on the agenda for this episode?
Here is our brief tour. First, we're going to talk about our own digital habits and why it's so hard to stay organized. While we chat, I want you to listen for some useful phrasal verbs about cleaning and managing things. And at the end, we'll visit Elena's vocabulary corner to review the most important phrases from the show.
I can't wait. But before we start the story, I want to ask our listeners for a tiny favor. If you enjoy learning English with us, please hit the subscribe button or leave us a review. It's a small thing, but it really helps us keep making these free episodes for you.
Yes, thank you so much for the support. Now, James, let's get back to those 5,000 emails. How did it get that bad? Do you never delete anything?
I always mean to. I tell myself I'll get around to it on the weekend, but then the weekend comes and I'd rather go for a walk. The emails just pile up every single day.
I understand. It's so difficult to stay on top of digital life. Even my husband, Mark, who is usually very organized because he's an engineer, has a computer desktop covered in random files. It drives me crazy.
So it's not just me. How about you, the person listening right now? Do you have a clean phone, or is it full of old photos and apps you never use?
I'm sure some of our listeners are very tidy, but for me, I really need to clear out my photo gallery soon. I've almost run out of space because I have way too many pictures of my cat Whiskers sleeping in strange positions.
Well, at least cat photos are cute. My storage is full of blurry pictures of receipts and memes I forgot to delete.
I know that feeling. I have so many screenshots of items I thought I would buy, and then I never did. It's funny how it all builds up over time, isn't it? It makes me think about how this all started for us. James, do you remember your very first email address?
Oh no, Elena, please don't make me remember. It was something like CoolJames99 with about 4 underscores. I thought it looked so professional back then. I'm pretty sure that account is still out there somewhere, filled with spam from 20 years ago.
We all had those. I think mine had way too many X's in it. But back then, digital life was simple. We had one email and maybe a few photos. Now, it feels like we're drowning in files. I was looking through my old student folders the other day, and it was a disaster.
Oh, let me guess. Was it the final version problem? I found a folder recently on an old hard drive. I haven't weeded out the files in years. I had History Essay Final, then History Essay Final V2, and finally History Essay for Real V3. It's embarrassing.
Exactly. Why do we do that? We hold on to these things because we're afraid that the moment we delete version 2, we'll realize it was actually the best one. How about you, the person listening right now? Do you have folders full of final documents from your school days? Or maybe old work projects you'll never look at again?
I bet most people do. It's like a digital safety net that we don't actually need. But Elena, you mentioned earlier that you have a specific kind of digital clutter that you find hard to let go of.
I do. It's a bit silly, but I have a huge collection of clip art from the early 2000s. You know, those little cartoon pictures of suns and flowers. I used to spend hours downloading them to make my school presentations look fancy. I still have folders and folders of them.
Clip art, that is a blast from the past. But surely you don't use those anymore. They must look so dated now.
They look terrible, James. They are blurry and very old-fashioned. But every time I think about deleting the folder, I just can't bring myself to do it. It feels like I'm deleting a piece of my teenage years. I start to sift through the files, seeing the little icons I loved, and I just get sentimental.
I get that. It's hard to be logical with memories. I usually just brush it off and tell myself I'll do it later, but then later never comes and the hard drive gets fuller and fuller.
It's a constant struggle to keep up with the growth of our digital lives. We start with one small email address, and before we know it, we have a digital attic full of old essays, blurry clip art, and 10 versions of the same photo.
It's true. It's not just physical space, it's the mental weight of knowing all that stuff is just sitting there.
It really is. It's like a heavy backpack we carry everywhere without even realizing it. Speaking of weight, I checked my cloud storage this morning and realized I have nearly 2,000 photos from a trip to Italy I took years ago. 2,000!
2,000? Wow. You must have seen every single corner of the country to take that many.
You would think so, but honestly, James, about 500 of them are of the same sunset in Tuscany. I remember standing there trying to catch the perfect light, and I just kept clicking and clicking. Now, when I look through them, they are mostly just blurry orange rectangles. I never actually look at them for fun, yet I can't delete them because they represent that perfect moment. It's such a trap.
I do the exact same thing. I'll take 50 pictures of a nice meal and then I'm too hungry to actually sort through them later. But my biggest problem isn't actually photos. It's what I call my ghostly hobbies.
Ghostly hobbies. That sounds a bit spooky. What do you mean by that?
It's when you decide to take up a new hobby with so much excitement, you download all the digital guides and videos, and then you never touch them. 3 years ago, I decided I was going to be a guitar legend. I downloaded hundreds of video tutorials and saved them all into a giant folder on my desktop called Guitar Hero.
And let me guess, how many of those videos have you actually watched?
Maybe 2. And I only watched the first 5 minutes of those. But that folder is still there, taking up space and staring at me every time I turn on my computer. I keep putting off the big cleanup because I feel like if I delete those videos, I'm officially giving up on my dream of being a musician. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It makes perfect sense. It's a way of holding on to a version of ourselves that we haven't quite become yet. I think we all do that. How about you, the person listening right now? Do you have a ghost hobby folder? Maybe it's a collection of French grammar PDFs, or healthy cooking recipes, or even a fitness plan you haven't opened since January.
I bet I'm not alone. It's just so easy to click save. It makes us feel like we've already started the work, but really we're just building a digital mountain that we eventually have to climb over.
Exactly. I find that when I want to wind down in the evening and relax, just seeing those folders makes me feel guilty. I see my Learn to Knit folder and think, oh, I should be practicing that instead of resting. It's not very relaxing.
Exactly. It's like our computers are judging us for our unfinished projects. I think I need to face up to the fact that I'm probably not going to be a rock star this year. Maybe it's finally time to hit delete on those guitar lessons and breathe a sigh of relief.
You really should, James. Honestly, clicking delete on something you don't need is like a weight off your shoulders. My computer desktop used to be so messy you couldn't even see the wallpaper. I used to call it my desktop of doom.
The desktop of doom. I love that. That is exactly what mine looks like right now. It's just icons everywhere. Sometimes I can't even find the file I'm actually working on because it's hidden under a screenshot of a pizza menu from 3 years ago.
Exactly. It's overwhelming. How about you, the person listening right now? If you looked at your computer screen or your phone home screen this very second, what would you see? Is it nice and organized, or is it a desktop of doom like James's?
I really hope they're more organized than me. But Elena, have you ever had that tiny moment of panic? You're trying to download something important, maybe a document for work, and that little red window pops up saying, "Storage full."
Oh, I hate that. It's such a stressful feeling. Your heart sinks a little bit, doesn't it? You have to power through and decide what to delete immediately just to finish your task. It's like being told your house is too full and you can't bring in the groceries until you throw away a chair.
That's a great way to put it. It forces you to get rid of things you were avoiding. But you know what? I actually found a strange kind of peace last Sunday. It was raining, I had a cup of tea, and I finally decided to tidy up my digital life while Barnaby, my dog, was napping at my feet.
On a rainy Sunday? That sounds very cozy. Tell me, what was the most satisfying part?
I went to my recycle bin, the place where all the deleted files go to wait. It was full of thousands of items. I hovered my mouse over the empty button, and I clicked it. The little whoosh sound the computer makes, it was the most satisfying thing I've heard all week.
I know exactly what you mean. It feels like you've actually cleaned a physical room in your house. It's a small, digital victory. I think we all need to clear out the things that clog up our devices and our minds more often.
Exactly. It's like my wife, she's very organized, always says a clear space is a clear mind, even if that space is just a laptop screen. Do you have a ritual for this, Elena, or do you just let it build up until the computer stops working?
I try to do a digital dusting once a month. I back up my important photos to an external drive and then delete the rest. It stops me from feeling that storage full anxiety. How about you, our listeners? Do you have a favorite time to clean your digital space? Maybe while you're listening to this podcast?
That would be the perfect time. If you're listening on your phone, maybe you can delete 3 old blurry photos or a useless app right now while we talk. Go on, we'll wait a second. It feels good, doesn't it?
It really does feel better, doesn't it? Just taking that one small step. Before we finish today, let's take a moment to look back at our map of the conversation.
Good idea. It helps to put everything into simple sentences. For example, I can say, I often struggle with keeping my phone storage organized. It's a real challenge for me.
And for me, I would say, my digital space is usually quite tidy, but my photo gallery is a total disaster. How about you, the person listening? Can you finish those sentences? I often struggle with, or my digital space is. It's a great way to practice.
Exactly. Now, Elena, I think it's time for my favorite part of the show. Can we head over to the corner?
We certainly can. Welcome to Elena's Vocabulary Corner. This is where we look at a few useful phrases we use today so you can use them in your own life.
I'm ready. What is our first one?
Drowning in. Drowning in. This means you have so much of something that you feel completely overwhelmed, like you are underwater.
I am drowning in emails every Monday morning after the weekend.
Oh, I feel you. And sometimes I feel like I'm drowning in house chores when I have guests coming over.
That's a great one. What's next?
A clean slate. A clean slate. This is a fresh start where you ignore the past and begin something completely new and organized.
Deleting all those old files gave me a clean slate for my new work project.
I love the feeling of a clean slate when I buy a brand new notebook for my gardening plans.
Nice. Give us another one.
To wind down. To wind down. This means to slowly relax after you have been busy or stressed.
I like to watch a funny movie to wind down after a long day at the office.
And I usually find that a warm cup of tea helps me wind down before I go to bed.
I definitely need to do that more often. What's the fourth one?
To get around to. To get around to. This means to finally do something that you have been planning to do for a long time, but were too busy for.
I really need to get around to painting the spare bedroom this summer.
I finally got around to calling my old school friend yesterday after months of waiting.
And do we have one more?
Yes, our last one is to face up to. To face up to. This means to accept a difficult or unpleasant truth instead of trying to ignore it.
I had to face up to the fact that I'm not very good at cooking spicy food.
And I had to face up to the truth that I have too many clothes I never wear. It's a hard thing to admit, but very helpful.
Those are so useful, Elena. I feel smarter already. I'm going to try and use Clean Slate at least twice tomorrow.
I'm sure you will. It's all about practice. Speaking of practice, we have one more little section before we say goodbye.
Before we head off, let's look at our summary map one last time to help you practice what we talked about today.
That is a great idea. If you want to talk about your own digital habits, here are 3 simple sentence starters you can use.
The first one is, I find it hard to let go of. For me, I find it hard to let go of old work notes from years ago.
And the second one is, I really need to sort out my desktop icons this evening. They are everywhere.
And finally, I feel a bit overwhelmed when... I definitely feel overwhelmed when I see 300 unread messages in a group chat.
Those are so relatable. Now, we have a tiny bit of homework for you. Don't worry, it's not a test.
Exactly. We want you to go through your photo gallery right now and delete exactly 10 old or blurry photos. Just 10. It will give you a tiny bit of that clean slate feeling we talked about.
And once you've done that, we want you to find one photo you decided to keep and share a short story about it in the comments. We would love to hear about a memory that actually matters to you.
It's a great way to practice your English storytelling. And remember, everyone, it's totally okay if your digital life is a bit messy. We are all just trying to keep up with this fast-moving world.
Exactly. Being a little bit imperfect is just part of the human experience. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. It really means a lot.
It really does. We hope you feel a little more confident with your English after our chat. We'll see you in the next episode.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.